Welcome, beloved friend. This testimony is one of those rare stories that stirs the soul, a moment that challenges what we thought we knew and opens our eyes to the transforming power of Jesus. As you watch, take a moment to let each scene sink in. Feel the weight of the story, the breakthrough, and the undeniable grace that changes everything. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us where you're watching from and share how this journey speaks to your heart. Your thoughts, reactions, and reflections help spark the kind of conversations that inspire faith, healing, and deeper understanding. This video is another testament to the power of our collective prayers and unwavering commitment. Every prayer you've lifted, every testimony you've watched, every comment you've shared, and every time you've spread the word about this ministry, it all matters. This is the fruit of your faithfulness. Together, we've stood beside new believers and Christians facing unimaginable challenges in some of the world's most hostile environments. We've reached out through prayer, through connection, and through the simple act of showing up again and again in this community. As you watch this testimony, know that you played a part in making it possible. This is what happens when a community refuses to give up, refuses to stay silent, and refuses to forget those who need us most. My name is Khalid Ibrahim. I was born in a small town called Zarqa, just outside Amman in Jordan. My father was a respected teacher at the local mosque, and everyone in the community admired him for his knowledge. Growing up, I wanted to make him proud, so I followed every prayer, every fast, and every rule. From childhood, I was told that to question anything about God was a dangerous thing. So I didn't. I obeyed, but deep inside, I felt heavy. As a boy, I used to watch the sun set over the hills and ask myself questions I never said out loud. I wondered why, even when I prayed, my heart didn't feel peaceful. Sometimes I would sit by my window at night and whisper to myself, maybe something is wrong with me. But I didn't dare speak to anyone about it. Everyone expected me to be strong, to be faithful, to be like my father. When I became older, I started studying more about our religion. The teachers at the mosque spoke about heaven and hell, about how only the righteous would escape punishment. I listened carefully, but instead of peace, I began to feel fear. It was the kind of fear that never left me even when I prayed. Every time I made a mistake, I felt like God was angry with me. I tried harder to be good. I fasted more. I spent longer hours reciting prayers. But the emptiness in my chest never went away. Sometimes it grew so strong that I couldn't breathe properly. I started avoiding people. My mother noticed that I smiled less and slept less, but I told her I was fine. Inside, I wasn't fine. I didn't know it then, but something in me was crying for truth, not just religion. At the age of 21, my life became quieter. I stopped hanging out with my friends, and I spent most of my time alone. My father thought I was becoming more serious about faith, and he felt proud. But the truth was I was confused. I did everything that should have made me feel close to God, yet I felt more distant. There were nights when I couldn't sleep. My chest would feel tight, and a cold fear would cover me. I would walk around the room, repeating prayers, but they gave me no comfort. Sometimes I thought maybe I was being punished for something I didn't even know I did. One evening, I went out to clear my head. The streets were quiet, and I could hear the call to prayer echoing across the buildings. People rushed to the mosque, but I stood still. For the first time, I felt like I didn't belong anywhere. The air felt heavy. My heart was full of questions I couldn't answer. When I got home, my father asked me why I looked troubled. I told him I was tired. He smiled and said, "Pray more, my son. Prayer cures everything." I nodded, but his words didn't touch the emptiness inside me. I prayed that night again, but it felt like my words were bouncing back from the ceiling. I started to wonder if God even heard me. It happened one night in June 2014. I was in my room after midnight. Everyone else was asleep. I sat on my bed, feeling my heartbeat racing fast for no reason. Sweat covered my face even though the air was cool. I thought I was going to die. I tried to stand up, but I fell to the floor. Everything around me turned dark. At first, I thought it was just a dream. But it was too real to be one. The darkness was thick, and the air felt heavy. I could hear faint sounds far away, people crying, others screaming. I wanted to run, but I couldn't see where to go. My legs felt weak. Then I began to feel something pulling me down, as if the ground wanted to swallow me. Fear filled me. I cried out for God to help me. But my voice was gone. I tried to remember every prayer I had learned, but my mind was blank. The sound of the cries grew louder. I felt as if I was being surrounded by things I couldn't see. My whole body shook. Then, from far away, I saw a soft light. It was small at first, then it grew brighter and brighter. The dark shapes around me began to fade. I fell to my knees and covered my face. The light was too strong for my eyes. And there, in that light, I felt the presence of someone. A peace I had never known filled the air. I didn't hear a voice from outside. It was inside me. He revealed to me that he had heard my cry, that he had seen my pain, and that he had come to give me peace. The peace that filled that place was beyond words. I no longer felt fear. It was like warmth covering me after being in cold rain for years. I wanted to stay there forever. The presence let me know he had been watching me all my life, even when I thought I was alone. He showed me moments from my past, times I cried in secret, times I doubted, times I wanted to give up. He let me see that even in those moments, he was near, waiting for me to call on him truly. It felt as if love itself was speaking to me. Then he revealed something painful. I saw the darkness I had been trapped in, the fear, the guilt, the emptiness, and he let me understand that I could never escape it by my own strength. Only his mercy could free me. I wanted to speak, but I couldn't find words. My heart was too full. I felt tears running down my face, but they were not tears of fear anymore. They were tears of relief. I knew I was standing before someone holy, someone pure, someone who truly knew me. He let me know that his name was Jesus, and that he had come to show me the way of peace. I didn't argue. I didn't doubt. In that moment, I simply believed. Suddenly, the light began to fade, and the darkness of my room returned. I opened my eyes, gasping for breath. My mother was beside me, crying. She said she had heard a loud noise and found me lying on the floor, not moving. I sat up slowly, still shaking. I didn't know what to say. For a long time, I just stared at the wall. I could still feel warmth in my chest. My mother held my hand and asked what had happened. All I could say was, "I saw light." She didn't understand. She thought I had a strange dream. But I knew what I saw was real. The next day, everything looked different. The sky seemed clearer, the air lighter. For the first time in my life, I felt peace. I spent hours sitting quietly, thinking about what had happened. I couldn't stop remembering the light and the love that filled it. Days passed, and I began searching for answers. I wanted to know more about Jesus. I started reading secretly online, using my phone at night. I found the Bible and began reading from the book of John. The words felt alive, like someone was speaking directly to me. I didn't tell anyone. Not yet. I was afraid, but deep inside, I knew I had found the truth. A few weeks later, I decided to tell my parents. I didn't plan it, it just happened. One evening during dinner, my father asked why I had become quiet and different. My heart was beating fast. I told him everything, that I had seen light, that I had met Jesus, and that he had changed me. My father's face turned red with anger. He shouted, saying I was being deceived. My mother began to cry, begging me to take back my words. I tried to explain, but the more I spoke, the angrier my father became. He told me to stop talking about it or leave the house. That night, I packed a small bag and left quietly. I didn't know where to go. I walked through the streets until morning, thinking about everything. I felt alone, but strangely, I wasn't afraid. The same peace I felt in the light was still with me. For the next few weeks, I stayed with an old friend from school. He didn't understand what had happened to me, but he gave me a place to sleep. I spent my nights reading more of the Bible and praying quietly. Each page taught me something new about love, forgiveness, and truth. I began to realize that following Jesus was not just believing, it was living differently. One evening, while walking through the city, I met a man at a small bookstore. He noticed the Bible I was carrying and quietly asked where I got it. I hesitated, but something in his eyes told me I could trust him. He invited me to meet some friends who also believed in Jesus. If you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love for you to be part of this journey. Our community is built on real testimonies and people's struggles, voices that challenge us to think deeper and live with greater clarity. As you listen to this powerful testimony of transformation, we'd love for you to be part of the conversation. Share where you're watching from and what stands out to you in this journey. Your thoughts and reflections aren't just comments. They help shape a genuine dialogue around experiences that have the power to change lives. That weekend, I went to a small house on the edge of town. There were 6 people there, men and women of different ages. They welcomed me warmly. We sat together, read the Bible, and prayed in whispers. It felt like family. For the first time since leaving home, I didn't feel alone. They told me about how they had come to know Jesus too, some through dreams, others through reading his words. Each story was different, but the peace in their eyes was the same. I realized I was not the only one who had been called out of darkness. We met secretly every week. We sang softly so no one would hear. Every time we gathered, I felt stronger. My faith grew deeper and my love for Jesus grew too. I learned that being a believer was not about escaping pain. It was about finding hope through it. Those quiet meetings became the foundation of my new life. As time passed, people in my neighborhood began to notice my absence from the mosque. Some whispered that I had turned away from my faith. Others warned my father about me. One afternoon, 2 men came to the house where I was staying. They questioned me harshly, asking if it was true that I followed Jesus. I didn't deny it. I told them what I believed. Their faces grew cold. They warned me that I would face consequences if I didn't stop. That night, I couldn't sleep, but I wasn't afraid. I remembered the light, and I knew I could never go back to the darkness. Things became harder. I lost my job. Some friends stopped talking to me. But even in my hardest days, peace never left me. Sometimes, when I prayed, I felt that same presence near me, reminding me that I was not forgotten. A few months later, I met some missionaries who helped me travel to another country where I could live safely. It was not easy to leave home, but I knew it was part of my journey. As the plane took off, I looked down at the city lights and whispered a prayer for my family. I knew that someday, they too would see the light I saw. I now live in Canada, in a small town near Toronto. Life here is different. It's quiet and free. I can pray openly and read my Bible without fear. Every morning when I wake up, I thank God for bringing me out of darkness. I started working at a grocery store, and I spend my evenings helping at a small church. Sometimes I share my story with others who are searching for peace. Many of them cry when they hear it. Some of them tell me they have felt the same emptiness I once felt. I tell them that religion without love cannot fill the heart. I tell them that Jesus doesn't just change your beliefs, he changes your life. I have learned to forgive those who hurt me and to pray for my family every day. Though I miss my home, I know God had a reason for bringing me here. He has given me a new family among believers and a new purpose, to tell others what he did for me. Every time I remember that night in June, I still feel the warmth of the light. If you have listened to my story, I want to tell you this: never take your journey with God lightly. Knowing Jesus is not just about saying you believe, it is about walking with him every day. Life will not always be easy, but he will never leave you. Pray often. Read God's word with your whole heart. The Bible is not just a book, it is a light for your path. When you feel lost, open it, and you will find direction. When you feel weak, pray, and you will find strength. Love one another. Forgive those who hurt you. Do not allow anger or pride to live in your heart. The world is full of pain, but love is stronger than hate. When you love others, you show them who Jesus truly is. Do not be afraid of the cost of following Christ. Every sacrifice you make for him is never wasted. The peace he gives is worth more than anything the world can offer. I am Khalid Ibrahim, once lost in darkness, now living in light. If he could find me, he can find anyone. Hold on to your faith, walk in love, and let his light shine through you.